Hello everyone. In today's video I will be answering some common questions about the controller I have received over the last 2 weeks, and I will try to demonstrate it and give some additional tips. I decided to use my old trusty PC for this one so I can show the controller. Opening the dialog history. Something I actually completely skipped over in my controller guide was how to open the dialog history. To access this, you have to hold the touchpad to get into your journal. Since I am recording from PC, I have to use the share button, but on the PS5 this is touchpad. Then I press R1 to move over to dialog. Another way to get to the journal is from the shortcut menu by pulling R2 and moving over to the journal, and here press R1 2 times. Also, another question I received is how to flee combat. So what some of you might not be aware of is that you can flee combat. To do this, you have to try and get your character out of range of the enemy, and when the option is available it will appear as a hold circle to flee, shown here. This can be useful if you decide to live to fight another day. And then a question I received multiple times actually is how to move certain objects, especially while they are already in your inventory. For example, to move this barrel without throwing it from my inventory. If you want to set up a trap or put a barrel in position but you don't want it to break, you do this by going into your character sheet, opening the shortcut menu first with R2, and then the left stick to the character sheet. And over here we find the barrel and push square and pick the move option. Then you can decide to put it down with X somewhere you like. The reason you want to do it this way is that if you decide to add this barrel to your shortcut menu, you will just throw it and it will break on impact. This can be useful to set up traps in advance or to make it so you can cause an explosion. Then speaking of throwing, you can also throw healing potions to your allies. This is extremely helpful when they are in a down state. You can't throw them from your action wheel, because then you will just drink it, but you can do this from your inventory by pressing square and select throw here.
Good idea, I think.
In one of my previous videos, I mentioned that you can end concentration by opening the action wheel with R1 or L1 and then holding triangle. Did you know that you can end concentration at any point in combat, even when it's not your turn? This is really useful, especially if you want to get your melee characters past the difficult terrain you created for a group of enemies, for example. While casting a spell that has an upcast, meaning you can use a higher level spell slot, oftentimes to make the effect stronger, but not always, so check beforehand. With Healing Word here, for example, it can make the effect stronger. Besides picking the higher level from your action wheel, you can also change the spell level while in the casting animation by using the dpad up and down. This can sometimes be really handy as well. Then I wanted to add something about next and previous target. I mentioned in my controller guide part 2 on combat that I had no use for next and previous target in combat. I can say, having played many hours now with the controller, that it is extremely useful, and you should not overlook this one, especially in larger fights. You use it to go over the turn order, especially when there are a lot of enemies with the same portrait. You cannot always tell. It's tactically very important to know who already took his turn and who hasn't. You do this by pressing the D-pad left or right, and it will follow the turn order in that direction. Did you notice when you accidentally press triangle and prematurely finish your turn, and one of your adjacent allies in the turn order has not finished its turn yet, you can take back your turn by undoing it. Then lastly, you can get more pouches and bags for organization from out in the world. You can pick them up by pressing square and select pickup. This will add them to your inventory. You can then either use them from your inventory or put them in your camp chest for organization. To organize between bags, you can open them by pressing R1 and move items over by pressing X. To select multiple items quickly, you can hold the R2 trigger and move the D-pad or stick to select, and then press X to move items. And with this little tip we got to the end of the video. I hope it proves helpful to some people. I want to thank everyone who subscribed and welcome the new people to the channel. We are approaching 400, so that is just awesome. Stay on the lookout for more videos and see you all in the next one. Bye.